Every single day, there is an invisible, high-stakes war happening right behind your everyday deliveries. Literally millions of packages are traveling across cities, oceans, and continents as we speak. Medicine is reaching hospitals before sunrise, and birthday gifts are crossing thousands of miles in under 48 hours. So, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're analyzing two absolute titans fighting one of the most important business wars in modern history. Think about it. It's a question we rarely stop to ask anymore. How does a midnight order arrive by morning? We kind of just expect it to be there, right? But behind that magic trick are two massive giants, FedEx and UPS. One built its empire on speed, betting heavily on airplanes. The other built its empire on efficiency, mastering trucks and routes. But look, this isn't just a battle over cardboard boxes. We're treating this competition as a masterclass case study in operational efficiency and business strategy. Because the core thesis we're going to uncover today is that in logistics, internal efficiency absolutely decides external pricing. Okay, let's dive into this. We're structuring our case study today across 5 key areas. 1. The paradigm shift. 2. The geometry of efficiency. 3. The human variable. 4. The external threat. And 5. The future front. Starting right off with Section 1, the paradigm shift before express shipping. To really understand this shift, we have to look back at the 1960s. Shipping was painfully disconnected back then. Sending a parcel across the country could take a week, and tracking, well, that barely existed. Then, a college student named Frederick Smith had this wild idea for an airline dedicated entirely to packages instead of passengers. That idea became FedEx, and it relied on a revolutionary concept called the hub and spoke model. Basically, this is a centralized system where instead of packages moving randomly between cities, everything flows into one central hub to be sorted overnight and then immediately flown out to their final destinations. Now, at first glance, you might be wondering, why on earth would you send a package hundreds of miles away from its final destination just to speed it up? Well, that brilliantly illustrates the mathematical genius of FedEx's strategy. By moving from disconnected city-to-city chaos into central hub sorting and then going direct to the final destination, they solved a massive logistical puzzle. Instead of building direct routes between every single pair of cities in the country, FedEx only needed connections to the central hub. Complexity totally collapsed, speed increased, and costs fell. Overnight deliveries suddenly became possible. Businesses, law firms, hospitals, they absolutely loved it. Because FedEx wasn't just selling shipping, they were selling certainty. And certainty, for sure, is one of the most valuable products in all of business. Moving on to Section 2, the geometry of efficiency, ground versus air. So while FedEx was busy conquering the skies, UPS, which is a sleeping giant founded all the way back in 1907, had quietly dominated ground transportation for decades. Those iconic brown trucks were the ultimate symbols of reliability, and they had totally perfected efficiency on the road. But as customers began expecting FedEx's speed, 2-day deliveries suddenly became the new normal. UPS had a choice: ignore the trend and risk obsolescence, or evolve. And they chose to go to war. You can see the juxtaposition of their operational philosophies right here. FedEx focused heavily on air dominance, investing in speed with a massive cargo fleet. UPS, on the other hand, focused on ground superiority, pouring capital into route optimization and algorithms to master the efficiency of their trucks. Now, what's really interesting here is the metric driving this war: millions. This comes from one of the most famous examples in logistics history. UPS engineers were studying their ground superiority and discovered something shocking. Left turns were terribly expensive. Think about it. A vehicle waiting to turn left wastes fuel, it spends more time sitting idle, and it increases the risk of an accident. When you multiply that by millions of deliveries, left turns cost enormous amounts of money. So UPS redesigned their routing algorithms to avoid left turns wherever possible. The result? Millions of gallons of fuel saved and millions of dollars in operational costs completely eliminated, literally, just by turning right. That left turn anecdote gives us a massive macro lesson. Logistics is a game of tiny margins. Saving just 1 second per package compounds into thousands of saved hours. Saving 1 mile per route becomes millions of dollars. This is the absolute core of operational business strategy. If you can move packages cheaper than your competitor, you can charge your customers less, and the company that charges less ultimately wins market share. It's that simple. Let's look at Section 3, the human variable, the labor strategy divide. Now, technology and routing aren't the only battlegrounds here. The biggest difference between these two companies actually isn't their trucks or their planes. It's their strategic approach to workforce management. As we can see, we have two fundamentally different business philosophies. UPS became heavily unionized. They offer high wages, strong benefits, and extensive job protections. In this model, UPS optimized for workforce stability and retention. FedEx took a completely different route. Most of its operations remain non-union. This model optimized for operational flexibility, allowing management to adapt faster to scale and maintain superior cost control. Looking at this neutrally as a business case study, neither strategy guarantees absolute victory. Higher labor costs can improve retention, while lower labor costs can improve pricing flexibility. Both come with distinct advantages and, of course, distinct risks. But for the customer at the end of the line, they rarely notice this divide. They really only care about one thing: did the package arrive on time? Which brings us to Section 4, the external threat, the e-commerce earthquake. Just as FedEx and UPS were locked in this intense binary war, an absolute earthquake hit the industry: e-commerce. Online shopping fundamentally transformed consumer behavior. Customers no longer just wanted fast shipping, they absolutely demanded it. Let's walk through how drastically delivered expectations escalated. In the 1970s, overnight delivery was seen as a premium miracle. By the early 2000s, two-day shipping was just normalcy. By the 2010s, it shifted to a next-day expectation. And today, we're literally seeing same-day demand. But this massive volume of e-commerce introduced a shocking twist. Their biggest customer, Amazon, started building its own network of warehouses, planes, trucks, and drivers. FedEx and UPS suddenly woke up to the realization that their biggest client was rapidly becoming their most dangerous competitor. The battlefield had changed all over again. And that leads into Section 5, the future front, the automation arms race. The current battleground isn't just about trucks or planes anymore. It's a high-stakes arms race over automation and, quite frankly, survival. Modern sorting centers are deploying incredible survival technologies right now. We're talking about advanced robotics processing hundreds of thousands of packages a day, computer vision systems that can identify parcels instantly without human barcode scanning, artificial intelligence that predicts shipping demand before it even happens, and machine learning optimizing those delivery routes in real time. Now, human workers are still absolutely critical, but machines are increasingly taking over the repetitive tasks. And the goal here isn't just labor reduction. The goal is massive scalability, relentless speed, and flawless accuracy. So you might be asking, who is actually winning this war? Well, the truth is, the leader constantly changes. A spike in fuel prices changes the game. Shifts in labor costs change the game. Breakthroughs in technology change the game. FedEx continues to dominate express air delivery, while UPS remains incredibly powerful in ground operations. Both are pouring billions into infrastructure. Because in this industry, standing still is exactly the same as moving backwards. It requires non-stop adaptation just to survive. So the crucial point is exactly what we established at the beginning of this explainer. The real lesson of FedEx versus UPS isn't just about packages. It's about business strategy itself. The customer only sees the price tag, but executives see the entire cost structure behind it. Every route optimization, every warehouse robot, every aircraft purchase eventually shows up in the price the customer pays. The market does not reward the biggest company, it rewards the most efficient one. Internal operational efficiency truly dictates external market pricing. That is the huge takeaway here. The trucks might be different colors, the planes might have different logos, but the mission is identical. Deliver faster, deliver cheaper, deliver better. Because the future customer doesn't compare delivery companies anymore. They compare delivery expectations. Which leaves us with this final thought for you to ponder. If one company figures out how to deliver tomorrow, how on earth do you compete with tomorrow? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep looking for the systems running the world right behind the scenes.